This is our chance to talk about who we are as a union and where we're going. Rich came to us. The administrator has offered to extend the contract. I'm going to have to give an answer. He's going to call like tomorrow or soon. What are we going to do? And we said, well, we definitely don't want to extend and just leave it open like you guys did last time, right? You extended and you did not build in any level of mechanism for negotiation. We as a board wanted to delay and not have to call that to question whether we extended or not, because we wanted to do our due diligence. And he said, well, we're going to have a decision. And that's where that came from. And at this point, it's irrelevant, because his direction was, absent the ability to delay, which clearly has been delayed, now the president owns the decision of how we should move forward. We must have an ability to open. So Rich said, well, they'll never agree to a one-side open. Well, if the agency already said they want to open it in 2026, and that's what Rich told us, then okay, the worst case scenario is let's do a mutual reopener where the intent is both parties know we're going to open in 2026 while we can fight off any executive orders if Trump is to win. It was to protect us, not to bind us to an extension. No one wants to extend a contract. What we're facing is, can or will our union be stripped of its collective rights to bargain? And will we be put in an unfair ability to negotiate in 2026? And we must exhaust all means and methods to ensure we have the ability to negotiate. Nothing has ever been brought to this National Executive Board that says we can defeat those executive orders. Why, if there's a magical recipe to defeat them, why wouldn't our president share that with the masses? Because we wouldn't have to have this discussion. There would be no question to extend, because the only conversation around it is to protect ourselves so we can fight off and find the means and methods to fight these executive orders.
So the executive orders are very real. And we don't get to just pick the court cases that we like and the rulings that we got. We have to look in totality. We do have lawyers. We also associate with other unions and their counsel to find out what's occurred. And to Nick's point, yes, if they were easily defeated, the president of our union should be saying that far and wide, and our membership should rejoice. We should also all be telling the truth about what they exist now, but it's left to us. And we'll do it, despite it being a boilerplate statement that everyone tries to cast us as the people that want to extend the contract. We haven't extended a contract. In fact, the other people have extended a contract. We've never done that. Nick wasn't on the board. I've never been on the board. I helped write a contract, a very successful contract, by the way, that has improved pay, benefits, compensation for everyone that we represent, and should be built on like any other contract. But stripping ourselves of 77 articles just to show that we have bravado makes no sense when there are other vehicles to go about it. Legislation, MOUs, there's several ways to go about that process, and none of them have been addressed. Nothing has been done by Mick Devine, who's the RVP of your region, except to beat their chest, print up green t-shirts and say, fix my fucking pay. It's irresponsible. What they're doing to this union is harmful.
Education is paramount. We want to be able to show our members, this is what we have, this is the operating playbook, and if we can find a better way to argue it, let's get it.
Chicago, March of 2024, this year. He said it again. If we have a Trump 2, there is no way we would want to open it up. We'd want to carve out for an extension. So when we talk about wanting to negotiate, I'm on the same page. I believe we need to negotiate. I think we should have every option on the table. But Rich has made it very clear in his campaign videos he wants to negotiate, but behind closed doors to the fact reps of this group, he has very clearly said that he wants to extend the contract. So I don't know what he actually stands for.
We're potentially facing tough times to try to divide the union as to, we don't just get to say immediately I want it and it occurred. And anyone that tries to attempt to tell you that that's how it works has never done it. It's easy for Mick to say he can print money because he's never sat at a negotiations table. He's never moved the ball forward for this union. In fact, all he's ever done was fail union members. And I hate to have to say that, but it's the truth. The truth is what's going to get us moving forward. We're not trying to fracture this union. We're trying to keep it together. I want everybody to know that.
What we're proposing is take our level 7s and belows and say, if you want to move to a 9 and below, we're going to do targeted moves behind you, place somebody out of the academy until they achieve a level of certification, and then move them up from there. but also working on a method called retention and throughput. How many bodies do we actually need to retain? Because if we know that that building is going to turn people over to 10s, 11s, and 12s, we can't just sit at 100% as 100. Just like we can't sit at 85% as 100 of many of these facilities as well. We have to start walking into this process, start increasing that, first stripping out all the unnecessary moves because people just bidding to try to get out of a facility, placing people behind them, staffing up our 8s and 9s, and ultimately D10 start having a selection of persons that have moved through the system, well qualified.
The desire to join this career field, despite what anyone says, still exists. Do we have to continue to make it more and more attractive? Absolutely, because we're competing with controllers. We need intelligent people that are career oriented, using experts and allowing them to display their skill. We have Nicole Sarunas, Travis Schumpberger, my great friend Daniel Witt, our regional reps for INSEPT somehow aren't our CWRG implementation team reps, because we have a president that likes to go hand out jobs to curry favor. If you've already been working in the field of placement, why would you go look for a private group, your friends, to work on placement for something as important as the CRWG? The process should be building on processes that we already have.
There's nothing better than educating even one member in a facility that can go out and speak truth.
That even the strongest people, their mental health can be fragile. Every single one of us has something like that going on in their lives all the time. And also having to be perfect in the job that we do, having leaders that go out, show the empathy, speak to it, are vulnerable, show that they are no different than the rest. A time that is specialized in each pay period that give you maybe 1 hour, if you need, of duty time to address mental health issues through EAP or any other means, while also still being compensated.
And if they are somehow going to move without us, there's consequences for that. There's consequences for not engaging this union. There's consequences for not having discussions with us in advance. But unfortunately, we have a president right now that seems to be occupied, and has been since the beginning of his term, with an election and with somebody going to run and setting up chess pieces to try to do that instead of just doing their job. Again, I think that's a direct result of Rich's relationship with them right now, and the agency and others looking and saying NACA has turned into somebody that's not moving the ball. How people will go around us, and they'll stop going and working with us.
So when they get put in that position, I make it my business to go to them so that they know that we together represent the interests of training. If you allow them to do it by themselves, they will. It's your responsibility to cultivate that relationship. Our credibility is our currency. We say that all the time. We can't spend a lot of currency because we don't have the proper amount of credibility. So when you're not credible, your counterpart sees that, they start working around you, and the effects aren't just to you and your ego, the effects are to us, potentially being imposed on.
Daniels-Haltom will speak with the full force and authority for this union when elected executive vice president. I trust him unequivocally. You've heard him on this town hall. You've heard his level of expertise, and he will be able to walk in a room and handle himself at any given moment, at any given time, to speak on the behalf of our membership. I do not trust Mick that way. It's half-truths. It's usually some spins.
Are you open to doing a candidate forum with the other candidates to discuss the hot topics?
If someone can convince them to, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tonight if that's the case, because
we will step in all 313 FA facilities in our first term. Thank goodness for the supporters that are out there, the amount that they put in, because when we're done, we'll have eclipsed 185 facilities.
So no, I do not believe that their relationship is improving. I don't believe it's one of mutual respect, and I wouldn't care if it didn't have an effect on the bargaining employees. He should look for ways to increase pay. That document is gold. Our employees are losing out by that document not being implemented. I believe it was a miss, and it's cost our members money. I drive a 2004 Explorer, man. Like, I'm not a wasteful person, and I don't think this union is wasteful. I think often our membership is misled, and we're not at all being wasteful when we invest back to the people that you want to continually invest in you. So
if our town halls are serving as an information flow, this is the beauty of that election, right? The fatigue experts of what does this entire package look like? Does that even include the hours? And what recommendations would come? But that panel would be able then to say what the parties have agreed to, and the time frame that'll be implemented, how it would be working, how it would work,
so
etc.
This agency is not handing out gifts to us. So when we don't collaborate, when we're not ahead of it, they will do things, they will revert to who they are.
We got to see the examples of the COVID schedules that were done. We have now a test case in the study to show what happens when we're well rested. Will the American public say, man, we cannot have fatigued air traffic controllers? And if that's a problem and this is a solution, we should absolutely look for it. That's us where we need to lean into, being our own media, not shying away from opportunities to speak about our problems. We must get out in front of these issues. We need to continuously be on offense and talk about the amazing work that we do. Yes, there are real problems in the system. They must be addressed, and they must be addressed through creative measures.
As our team is not just Nick and Jamal, although those are the initials you see. Our team is vast, our team is powerful, and our team is willing to work. And you are invited to be part of our team as we go forward.